Hey, what's up guys, it's T-Bone here and welcome back to another episode of playing Legendary Game of Heroes. So tomorrow, the event Hearts on Fire is going to start and a pack is now available for you to preview, as well as all of the cards that you need to collect the 13 times Commander. But before I do that, I wanted to just take a minute and go into the bounty dungeon here because it is on right now. And I've done a few videos in the past, so please take a look at the description below for the links to those videos. But one thing I didn't show in my previous video is how you actually get to Celestial Floor 5 and what it looks like when you want to defeat it. The one thing I do want to mention quickly is that through levels 1 to 20, you don't actually have to worry about bringing any bounty hunters into this event because the number of trophies that you collect here is really low compared to what you can get from the Celestial Floor. So if you find yourself having a harder time defeating the floors by bringing in bounty hunters, I would say not to worry about it too much. I actually have collected all of the trophy counts for all of the floors as well, and I'll be sharing that in the description later on as well, so that you can have it for reference. So let's do this first, just real quick. I have one key left, and so let's go do that for floor 5, and then we can take a look at the available pack later. So Celestial Floor 5. The strategy I have for my deck, as you'll see, is I bring in all of my 6-star bounty hunters. This may not be available to everyone, but just bring in as many as you can that are at the highest level. And for me, what I do is I'm just gonna see if anybody has a fire. I'm looking for Ray here. So there's Ray. So I'm gonna bring in Ray just to boost my overall damage. You can see I have my my heroes here, and I brought in Flame Heart. So let's take a look and see what this is like. So this is just the same as any of the other Celestial Floors, except in this case the boss's health is high enough that I can't actually one-shot using the Flame Heart. So this is the general strategy. Bring in a Flame Heart if you have it. If you don't, borrow it from a friend, and all you're gonna do is focus on getting your fire battle skills high as much as possible, and then go ahead and try and take him out. So you can see here, what you want to do is you just want to go ahead and attack, and you'll see that there with one turn remaining, I'm going to go ahead and use her battle skill. Doesn't quite take her out. I'm just going to use the rest of the skills here as well, and it still won't take her out yet. But now what I can do is just kind of focus on my next attack. I'll take an attack. I have enough health. I'm actually going to survive here, and all I'm going to do right now is just focus on getting my battle skills ready. Okay, and we can see that when she attacks, it's going to be Siphon, Toxin, and Thorns. Now the thing with Toxin is that it also impacts the Flame Heart. So if your Flame Heart is actually impacted by the Toxin, her skill will not activate because her battle skill also does a heal, and so it's kind of it'll actually get impacted there. So that's something to keep in mind. If Flame Heart has Toxin on her, then you will not be able to activate it. So just keep that in mind. But since she's not impacted right now, I'm just gonna go ahead and set it up right now. So what I want to do is I have one more turn to activate the skill, and I'll go ahead and do that now. So now that her battle skill is ready, I'm just going to go ahead and activate it after all of the thorn damage is done. Okay, just go ahead now and activate her skill again. And then we've defeated the Celestial Floor within 4 turns, I believe. Let's see how many turns this says that we did it. So 6 turns. Still within 10, you get 3 stars. And then with 5 total bounty hunters, you're going to get 3.1 million trophies. Okay, so easy way to collect a lot of trophies without really worrying about, having to revive through gems or anything like that. So just keep this in mind. I think it's just something I want to always remind people when there is a bounty dungeon. Please go for it, because you could, if you take a look at the rewards, you get lots of gems, and it's pretty easy if you can get to the Celestial Floor to get the 500 gems. All right, so ultimately you want to get to the 500 gems plus all of the previous rewards above it, and also the crown shard is available as well as a reward without spending any gems at all. Anyways, now let's go back and take a look at the pack. So I've spent some time looking at this now. So let's take a look at the collections. And this is the the Fire Ancient deck. And if you take a look, let's look at the free card that you can get. All right, so this is Eva, Forgotten Daughter. This is a card that you can get for free in the event just by playing the event and getting the catalysts. All right, and so when you get her, let's take a look at her skills. So this is actually a 5-star. I'm gonna take a look at the 6-star skills. So her skill is she'll attack for her base attack or her attack value times 1,250%, and then adds an ancient intensity. Then if the target is below 35% max health, attack again for attack times 40% per intensity. So there's a lot of words in there, and I actually have to do some math around it, but basically this comes down to this additional attack comes out to about 25 times less than the power given to Frankenstein or to Alexa or to the Panda. If you think about it, so basically this is a much worse version of those cards. Initially, I thought, ooh, maybe they brought in a skill that actually allows a free card to get a really good damage boost. But the fact is, it's only 40% attack per intensity, whereas something like a Frankenstein does 5,000% for every 5 intensity, and the math works out to be that it's 25%. 25 times lower. So you need to get at least 75 intensity just to get the same damage that a Frankenstein would at 5 intensity. All right, so something to keep in mind. It got me excited at first, but then I thought about it some more, and I thought, okay, so not really sure if this is really that big of a boost, but it remains to be seen. I like to see if I'm proven wrong there. I'll still try it out because it is free, and let's see what happens there. The other potential card that you can get for free if you go through the 5-card, so the 5-star collection, is Vinder, Bloodletter. This is another ancient card. It's an attacker, and his battle skill. This is the other version of the commander version of the Night Sun, in that it destroys non-fire gems, and depending on the intensity, it will destroy more. So this is where building up the intensity will allow you to actually destroy everything on the board except for the fire gems. But the thing about the Night Sun that's better here is that it doesn't require any intensity, and it will automatically destroy everything on the board. And it also doesn't attack. All right, so in this case, I kind of feel like, well, the only benefit here is that it's a commander, so it does give that additional boost. So these are the 2 possible free cards you can get. Like I said, you can potentially get it from the 5-star event hero. The one I don't believe, or at least maybe the chance is extremely low for you to get, is the ultra rare card, Crimson Vengeance. So this card has a couple of things going for it. The first thing is that it will create a power gem. And depending on the level, I'm not sure this will go up to Fire Power Gem 2 at 6 stars, but it also creates additional Fire Power Gem 1s for every 10 fire gems on the board. At 6 stars, I don't know what it reduces to, but if you think about it, there's only possible a total of 35 gems that you can have on the board. Okay, and so for this part, at this level, that means at most for one ultra rare card, you can generate a 1 firepower gem plus 3 additional ones, because you can only get up to 3. It's rounded down, and there's a 5-turn cooldown. So there is a limit, and the limit is actually based on the size of the board as opposed to the intensity here. So it's not going to be as strong as the previous cards that generate the intensity and also the power gems. But I think where you're going to benefit here is that it has a passive that will always give you a increased drop rate. So what that means is if you can sort of get your gem destroyers going, so if you have a couple Night Suns plus the Bloodletter, you can kind of just let it go. This is, I think, where you're going to benefit, where you're going to just massively increase the drop rate the longer you go. The higher the intensity, the higher the drop rate. So I think that's sort of the other thing that's going for you. So you could use that card for a similar deck that I'm going to use. I'll show you later on for that purpose. A card that's actually really good here that they've added in the mix here is Cecilia the Proud. Now, I don't have this card. I'm really looking forward to getting it. So at 5 stars, you can see what she does is she'll generate 1 Firepower Gem 2 And if you have less than 100% health, it'll double the effect. So you can actually get 2 firepower gems every 3 turns using your battle skill. So this is a really good card to have. If you have a couple of them, you can really sort of build up the power gems. And at 6 stars, she will generate 2 firepower gem 3s if her health is less than 100%. So that's, and also she dispels fear. So this is a really good card to get. Like, I'd rather get this card for my 5-card, my 5-star event card than any of the other cards, to be honest with you. I also already have Junko. So Junko has now converted to be a commander card. She used to be Slayer, and her cards is really, you know, she was one of the first cards that came out a while ago that sort of built this chain. So her battle skill actually creates this chain called Dance of Death, and the Banisher, right? So what she'll do is she'll cast this thing called the Banisher, and then it sort of lets Hideki and the Vulcan do additional damage afterwards. But those other cards are Slayers, so they're not going to be as useful in this particular combination. And also, it was an older card, so the damage isn't quite as high as you could do now. And then the final card is Ares, which is a Warden card that they've now added a commander bonus to it. And his battle skill, just like most of the Wardens, are lackluster in comparison to the other cards, in that it will attack an enemy for 500 health and attack again for 500 attack, or 500% attack. So it's, you know, it's good as a Warden, right? So if you don't have him, it's actually not a bad card for a Warden. It's just that as a attacker, it's not quite as good as the other cards. But in general, I think that these cards are all pretty good. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Cecilia. So let's talk about the deck that I will be using. So because this is going to be this is an Earth event, so all the bosses you're going to fight are Earth. Unfortunately, that means the very popular Water commander deck that uses Priestess, Kreen, and Quack is not going to be as effective, because all of the damage will be halved. Okay, a water-based hero attacking the Earth bosses. Unfortunately, this is the affinity that this deck is weak against. So sort of the other thing I'm going to try is this deck where it uses the Night Sun. My goal here is I'm going to keep this deck, and when I get and I'll take the free card, and I would, because she actually boosts Fire Ancient cards, which the Night Sun is. So I'm just going to take her, put this in, and let's talk about how this deck works. So I'm just going to go into a main campaign. So for anybody who doesn't already have a Night Sun or have ever used it, this is sort of the general strategy that you use. This is sort of what you call like a 2-turn deck, very similar to the Water Quack deck. And let's see, do I have any cards? Oh, so here's Cecilia. So let's go ahead and use this to kind of show what she does. All right, so here's the deck. So let's take a look. The idea here is to generate as many gems on turn 1 as possible and match them all so that you can light up all of their battle skills. And so let's go ahead and do that. And I brought in my Ray for now, who's Ascended, so she actually gives me an additional power gem as well. So now let's go ahead and attack, and what I can do is to use this skill, I'm gonna purposely get damaged, and just to show the effect of this card. And looks like I need to get damaged. I need to do this one more time. Okay, so now I get damaged, I can go ahead and use Tila. So now you can see it generated 2 power 3 gems, and then all I'm gonna do is generate another one using my Idalia. Is that her name? Idalia, right? And then I'll use Penelope here. I use Penelope just to use the relic here that can give me more gems, but generally I will run with 2 Idalia. So I'll go ahead and create another couple of gems, and then just basically just do Night Sun plus Night Sun, and I can get almost a full board. And plus, every time Night Sun is activated, he attacks as well, so that's pretty nice. And then typically this would have been turn 1. This is what I would have set up, and all I have to do is then just kind of match all of the fire gems. And you can see this can deal some significant damage here. Okay, so you can see that like over 1 million here just in the regular fights. So then finally, let's just go ahead and finish out this battle, because Usually, if you're using this to defeat the guild boss, hopefully by this point you're done. Otherwise, you just kind of rinse and repeat again. Collect this because at that point you should have enough already for the next turn. So you're just gonna quickly try to get to turn 3 again. I don't think there's fear for the guild bosses this time, based on what I'm seeing. Their counter skills are, and I actually didn't go through that with everybody. So let's take a look here, right? So generally what you do is if you take a look at what their counter skills are, it can give you an idea what the event boss is going to have. So this one is Panic for Eva, and then for Vendor it is Judgment. So the guild boss is most likely going to have Judgment, and Judgment is a counter skill that attacks anyone who heals. Okay, so that, at least that's what the card says. I can't remember exactly whether that happens if you actually match heart gems or if you have any cards that has the heal capability. But in any case, it's kind of similar to Thorn or other skills that where every time you attack, you get some damage. So I think in that case, it's just don't get any health gems. I could be wrong, so please correct me and let me know if I'm wrong. So anyways, this is basically the deck here. My view on it, I think that unfortunately the free cards, I'm not sure how viable it is outside of the event. I think that Vendor the Bloodletter though is good in that it is a fire destroyer. So if you don't have Night Sun, this is a good card to get. Again, like I said, Cecilia is actually a really good card to get. So not Tila, Cecilia. Cecilia is a really good card to have. So if you get her, I think that's actually a really good card because she was also a rare card to get in the previous event. So I would be very happy with that. And obviously with Crimson Vengeance, it is an ultra rare card and it does have the dual ability of creating, more power gems and also increasing the drop rate. But I think if you're running with a couple of gem destroyers, that actually comes out to be almost similar. So we'll see about that. I don't have enough of the cards to get the 13 times ultra rare, and this is Valadim. You can see that at 6 stars, the power is a bit different. It creates one fire power gem 3, and then 1 power gem for every 1 for 5 gems. So this is a little less. With 35 gems on the board, you're gonna get 7 total, right? So if you're running a couple of these cards so if you're running one ultra rare card or Valadim plus the ultra rare card, so if you have 2 of them, then you could get about 10 to 12, I guess, depending on what the 6-star reduction is like for the ultra rare card, which should still be enough for the purposes of defeating the final boss for the guild bosses because of the 13 times bonus plus 10 plus all the others that you may have on the cards itself. But like I said, not sure. If anyone, who don't get it, how viable the card is, it still remains to be seen. So I'll still test it out. But I think for now, the 2 things I'm going to do is I'm going to run this deck, the Night Sun one, and also I'm going to try out and see if my my deck that I got from before is going to be useful. I'm going to be able to take out some of these cards and I'll put other light commanders in there. I'm going to try out, see how viable it is in a commander setting. So I will definitely try out, and then I'll let everybody know. So that's it. So hopefully this has helped you a little bit with your decision on what to do for the event. I think that, I would, if I were you, I would hold off on any purchases until you've actually collected the cards in the 5-star event hero collection. Use that as a determination on whether or not you should be spending any gems in the event pack. Okay, so that would be my recommendation. Hopefully it's been helpful. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you in the next episode. Take care.